In this video, we are going to be covering some of the hottest NFT news that you've missed. So I want to talk real quickly about where we are in the current market. So obviously we've been in a bear market for quite some time. Ethereum has kind of been sitting at that 1.6, 1.8 kind of level. And if we are looking over the past month, it's kind of just in the same place, right? For the most part, volume across Ethereum, Bitcoin, Solana, Avalanche, basically any chain you name it is low, and it's dropping every single month, right? So a lot of people might think that, hey, are we in a very bearish time? Absolutely. However, I can tell you from behind the scenes, a lot of people are building, a lot of people have VC funds, a lot of people raised a lot of money during the bull market and are continuing to push. There is definitely people building on the sidelines, and I feel like most people are just kind of preparing for the opportunity when the bull comes. Now, when will the bull come? Nobody really knows for sure, right? Because it's so dependent on the macroeconomics. Anybody who says they absolutely know probably does not know, because people can say whatever they want online, and if they're wrong, people just forget. So just keep that in mind. So let's talk about some projects. The first one I'm going to talk about is going to be FriendTech. This whole platform is built on Base, which is Coinbase's layer 2 solution, right? Basically, all it really is that you can create an account and then people can buy your shares, right? And for example, if Patrick created a FriendTech account, people can invest in my social brand. I can create content kind of like an OnlyFans or Patreon for my audience. And because that content is so good, more and more people will buy my NFTs in this situation, right? So they can get access to my content. We're going to look at this chart by NFTstats.eth. Basically, the beginning of August, things were kind of slow and it started to exponentially pick up, especially in September. So now everybody's talking about it, right? Now, realistically, because FriendTech really only started like 2 months ago, the quality is probably not that great compared to what's already on YouTube and newsletters and things like that. But the reason why people put money in it is because there is a speculative element. So if somebody says, oh, this famous person has FriendTech, I got to buy their shares before they explode, other people are going to pile on, and then it becomes this game of chicken almost, right? It's like you're trying to make money, trying to ride a narrative. Eventually it will go down. So can you get out and make profit while other people hold the bag, right? And that's essentially the game that is being played. And of course, people might say, oh no, there's the tech, this could be the next whatever, right? That's a possibility. But when we're looking at the short-term economics of how people are making money, you have to understand the narrative of the game. It doesn't even matter what the product is, as long as people believe that the price is going to go up. Of course, there's a lot of people, influencers, micro influencers, that are creating content because they're going to make some money from this. 5% goes to the platform, which is FriendTech. 5% goes to all the holders and is split, I believe, depending on how many NFTs you have. And the creator doesn't get a split there, but they are more incentivized to sell more NFTs. And I misspoke, they're not really calling the things NFTs, they're calling it keys, which are actually NFTs on Ethereum. And so if you've been around in the NFT space and crypto space for a while, you may have known that there was an idea like this that existed in the past, where even like Logan Paul and all these people had accounts on it. Not exactly the same idea, but a very similar idea. FriendTech is more sophisticated in terms of how they are doing the tokenomics, but similar idea. Everybody jumps in, everybody FOMOs, price are over evaluated, and it just goes down, right? Could this thing make it? Yeah, it could, but you just have to be careful on the price going up and down, because if you are speculating, you have to really understand that there's another person on the other side who is trying to make money off of you. And then one more thing, there's a lot of speculation about FriendTech dropping a token. So for most crypto projects, even NFT projects, what they tend to do is they always get you thinking about what's ahead in the future. So if there's a rumor, a speculation that FriendTech may drop a token, and how is that allocation going to happen? People make up stuff, right? So someone might say, oh, it depends on how many keys you have, or how active you are, how big of a creator you are, right? There's no official thing that says how you will get the token. There's no official thing that says there is even a token, but that speculation is what gets people to buy. Obviously, the founders and the team running this, they understand that. The investors, VCs like Paradigm and stuff, who's invested in this, they have been doing this for quite some time in the crypto space, so they understand how tokens work and how to drive narrative without having to promise much. It's something that I've definitely seen in the past. The mechanics are slightly different, but overall the theme is the same. You just have to be mindful of, if you want to make money, buy low, sell high, right? Next thing we're gonna talk about is going to be my friend Mr. Gentle Ape over here, where he actually displayed his golden skateboard that he purchased a year ago at this point. Basically, this golden skateboard was by Azuki. He sold it for around like $250K each. Back then, I think there is only 8 that were sold at that time. And so this one's going to be signed by Tony Hawk himself. Museum is Co-Museum. I don't know too much information about this, but I believe it's a museum in Hong Kong, which is associated with K11 Musea, which is creative retail experience by Adrian Chang. He also holds 100 Azuki and has been involved in Azuki in some capacity for quite some time, right? You know, they're displaying the art over here, showing people the skateboard, and amongst other things, you can see here that you have the pendants. I believe this is collaboration with Ambush as well. For me personally, what's really interesting is number one, I believe the plan is to fractionalize the skateboard so everybody can, you know, buy a piece of it while it's in the museum. You can buy and sell that fractionalized, I guess, NFT that would represent a percentage of the skateboard, which is kind of cool. The other thing that's really interesting is this is a pretty good example of building a decentralized IP, right? So if you think about it, Azuki creates a skateboard, they sell it to other people like Nelson, Mr. Gentle Ape, and other people who have bought it. When they buy these things, they want to promote the value of the thing they bought, right? So if I bought a skateboard for 250K, I want my skateboard to go up in value. I want this thing to be worth $1 million one day, and we could sell it for $1 million and 4x my money, right? Why not? So to do that, obviously you got to put it in your museum, you got to create a story around it, you got to create demand, and you have to find buyers who are willing to pay for that price. So by doing these kind of things, they're taking a playbook from the contemporary art world. If you ever study it, you have to create demand for these things, especially for new art, right? So if you're trying to position the products as luxury, you got to do these kinds of things to create that perception, right? Until it becomes real. It's definitely pretty cool. It's one of the more interesting examples I've seen in Web3 where different people who own different companies doing their own thing come together to promote a brand and IP. So shout out to Mr. Gentle Ape for doing all that, showing us what's possible, and Azuki as well, I guess. All right, so the next project we're gonna talk about is Nouns DAO. So Nouns is an interesting project because if you kind of been in the market for a while, you know what Nouns is. At the time, it was like elite to have one of these, right? So how it works is every day they release one noun and people can bid on it, and then whoever has the highest bid, when the auction ends, you're gonna get the nouns, and then the money goes into the treasury, right? And people were buying this for like 60 ETH when it was the bull run, right? So it's definitely not cheap. Now from here, the interesting part is like there's money in the treasury. What do you do with that? The challenges that I've observed from afar, I don't have a nouns, but I kind of like see what's going on, is that because this is a DAO and this is which is a decentralized organization, the leadership is kind of confusing, right? Because who's actually running it? People are just voting on proposals saying like, hey, we should have an esports teams. Hey, we should build a skate park. And it's like, are these things really pushing the noun IP? Are these things really doing anything for the project to push it forward? Sometimes yes, sometimes no, sometimes it's unclear. So because of the lack of clarity, some people are a little frustrated with like, hey, you know, I put in so much money to buy a noun, what's going on, right? And because of that frustration, somebody put in a proposal to refund people who have purchased these nouns for high prices. Basically, if you have a noun, you could get a refund for approximately 35.5 ETH. A lot of people actually did refund. I think it was like half of the noun holders refunded because they just wanted their money back, especially during a bear market, right? Money is always good. And so the treasury is definitely smaller, but they still have 22 million, right? And I suppose people are still buying this every single day as well. So I guess at this point, it's kind of like a weird experiment where it's like money keeps coming in, money comes out, and it's like they're trying different things, but is it working? Is it not working? So I'm kind of just watching afar to see what goes on. And I'm sure there's a lot of potential here, right? Because you have a passionate community, you have a lot of money, you have demand, people are buying it every day. Not a lot of projects are selling, you know, a 30 ETH of NFTs every single day, right? But at the same time, it's like without the lack of leadership, it's hard to really like move a needle on the space, right? So yeah, it's an interesting experiment, but I'm just curious to see how it's going to go down, like let's say a year from now. So that's everything we got to cover for this video. If you enjoyed it and you appreciate that we're still pumping out these videos during a bear, make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I am going to see you in the next one.